Well, we have great motivation for tomorrow's national championship game. Um, last year we were the #1 seed in the tournament, lost in the round of 16 to UConn in a shootout. After the loss, my sports supervisor and I, Ken Weiner, sat down quite a bit to talk about the state of our program. At UCLA, we have really high standards. We expect to win. We prepare to win. And our program, if we look back in 5 years, we've been to the Elite Eight 4 of the 5 years. And we came up with a phrase that we're going to reset our program and put together a blueprint and a strategic plan to try and accelerate the process to get back to the College Cup. We were recently in the College Cup in 2011. We put together a leadership group. It was a group of 7 guys. Both Earl and Mike Lamick were both a part of this leadership group. Together, the 7 of them, our coaching staff, spent a lot of time in the off-season really planning during the non-championship segment of our season to absolutely try and get back to the College Cup. And so now that we're here and get to participate in the national championship game tomorrow, we are excited by the opportunity, look forward to the game, really excited to play against the University of Virginia. I have great admiration for their program, their soccer program, the 6 national championships that they've won. We obviously want to win our 5th tomorrow, and so we're really excited to step on the field tomorrow at noon.
Questions? Coach, what would have been some of the most noteworthy things that came out of that, the committee and the changes to the program? What's the thumbnail of some of the major?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is really we're kind of poking at the culture in our group and understanding of roles and responsibilities, having really a blueprint of what each individual role, each individual responsibility on the soccer field, off the soccer field. We take a lot of pride in our student athletes at UCLA, and I take a lot of pride how they handle themselves, carry themselves within our program. We speak to life lessons often. Obviously, it's a game, it's a sport, but I think there's so many parallels between life and soccer. And I want our guys that come through our program to be good men, to be good contributors to the community. We talk about being good fathers and good parents as they get older, and it's all those things and those qualities are really important. So, really, the strategic plan and what we put together was all encompassing. And I think you see a group this year that's extremely unified, a team that understands what their roles are, a team that has an incredible will to win, a group of guys that they absolutely care for each other on and off the field. They've been a huge delight to be around every single day, every single week. And so a lot of it's really just the culture within the group. And with our program, we just wanted to refine it and make it as good.
Maybe just a little example, maybe a specific player whose role really became more defined, or something tangible that you can see what you're talking about.
It's a really long conversation, but to really specific things where we've asked, for example, Mike Amick to be one of our leaders in the back. He's a sophomore and he's a captain because he has great maturity and intelligence, and so we asked him to be a leader in the back and have specific roles that he needed to fulfill.
Michael, can you contrast what you saw from Providence in the attacking style yesterday to what you expect to see from a more defensive-minded Virginia tomorrow?
In terms of how they're going to attack us?
If they attack, yeah.
Presumably they will attack us, but obviously going into Providence, we expected the number 18 up top to be strong, hold the ball up, allow his runners behind him to play off of him. And then looking at Virginia, we haven't looked at them too much yet, but obviously they have some they have talent up top. They're going to go forward, and they're going to try and get after us with speed and quality of play, so we'll be ready for that tomorrow.
Along those lines, Jorge, do you expect the return of Eric Bird to maybe change the way they kind of choose to attack you or not to attack you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a really talented player. He's been injured, played 10 minutes yesterday. It's a national championship game. He probably will play more than 10 minutes. I don't think their system will change much. We have started to scout or put together a scout for the group. Both Earl and Michael, haven't heard much about them yet because obviously they didn't see the game, and this afternoon our guys would be really well versed as to what they'll do. But Eric Bird, he's a really talented soccer player and someone that we will have to deal with, along with 3-4 other attacking players that they have.
Jorge, can you just talk about, I guess, the history of both teams in this matchup? Obviously, these two powerhouse programs, 10 combined championships. What does it mean to you to have an opportunity to go up against a program like Virginia?
Back in 1990 when I was a freshman at UCLA, we won a national championship game, and Claudio Reyna, Brian Bates, A.J. Wood, they were all freshmen at Virginia. And we were all national team teammates on the under 17 national team, the under 20 national team. And we had a bet that who would win more national championships as college soccer players and whose program would win more national championships. And it was, to me, pretty ironic that here we are, this College Cup, us against Virginia. They have 6, we have 4. Absolutely want to get us our 5th. It's I admire Bruce Arena for all that he did for Virginia and what he's done with the national team. If I could have picked one team to play against, it would have been Virginia because of the history that we have against them in the tournament. The absolute respect that I have for their program. They're one of the best programs in the country, and so are we. And so we'd like to get closer to their 6th national championships by winning tomorrow.
Coach, do you know George very well, and do you guys have any history together?
I obviously do know George. We see each other on the recruiting trail. Great respect for him. He won his first national championship a few years ago. We played against Virginia in the College Cup in 2011 in St. Louis, and so we love to play each other. We love going to Virginia, and we go on the East Coast, and we'll play Virginia and Maryland. I think we go there in a couple years again to play against Virginia at Virginia. Obviously George has done a great job. You look at the talent that he has on the soccer field, and does a great job recruiting and the way they play the game and possess the ball. So he does a lot of things really well. So absolutely, I know him and respect him.
You must be able to relate, though, taking over a traditional power, and, former great coach leading the program, and then trying to make your own imprint. You both had a similar path there. Can you share what that's like for you and what you can imagine it was like for George or Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, we're all our own people and different men, and I want to have my own footprint on our program at UCLA, and obviously Ziggy Schmidt, Tom Fitzgerald, they were the previous coaches that won national championships at UCLA. I absolutely want my legacy to include a national championship, but I do things differently than both Tom and Ziggy. We play the game differently now than we did in the past at UCLA, and I have a very strong desire and passion to have the game played a certain way, and I try and infuse it in our guys.
Earl, obviously you guys have done what you needed to do to get here defensively. There have been some goals. Have you been able to pinpoint kind of what maybe some of the breakdowns and maybe implement that for tomorrow?
I definitely think there's places we need to improve. Although luckily our attack's been able to step up for us and score more goals than we've given up. With that being said, I think we are still staying strong to a lot of our strengths. We're not giving up as many goals as we could have. I've had to make plays. These guys have blocked a ton of shots, and we're still making plays and keeping our team in the game. I do think we are aiming for shutouts and would like to get that result tomorrow. But I think we've been doing what we need to do to get the job done, and luckily we've ended up in the national championship tomorrow.
Coach, and the players a year ago in this very room, actually at the other end though, your women's team was here and en route to a championship. And I know one of your former, was it play for you or BJ? an alum of the program, coach them and help bring the program up. How much do you interplay? Even Coach John Savage from baseball just recently won. And you got, what do you guys have? 114 titles now, or
112.
112? Okay. If you all could speak to the athletic culture at UCLA, specifically the interplay between the two soccer programs. Earl, I'm sure you know Caitlin Rowland real well. I don't know if you guys compare notes and things of that nature, but just kind of the culture and the back and forth between the different sports, particularly the soccer program.
Well, I mean, it's a culture of winning. 112 national championships is an incredible feat. When we go into our Hall of Fame and see 112 national championship trophies, it's all inspiring, and you, as a leader and a steward of the men's soccer program, you want to do everything you can to uphold the tradition that we have at UCLA. So our guys, they understand that. We absolutely embrace the pressure, the opportunity to represent UCLA and to represent the men's soccer program. Our guys, they hear about it all the time. Our men's water polo team just won a national championship. They won the 112th. We celebrate national championships at UCLA. And we take great pride in each of our programs. For Amanda Cromwell to win the national championship last year in her first year, where we as a school, but more specifically the women's soccer program, had been to numerous college cups and couldn't really find a way to win the national championship. All credit to her and her staff to come to UCLA, to come from Central Florida and come and do the job necessary to win the national championship. And sometimes when you hear 112, it sounds like it's easy. Trust me, it's not easy.
For the players, I don't know if I assume you know a lot of the players on the women's team. Like Coach said, the water polo players, maybe the baseball players, things like that.
Yeah, like you said, it's part of our culture at UCLA, and unfortunately the girls got knocked out in the Elite Eight, and since then they've had nothing but support for us, and they want us to go win this whole thing. And same thing with water polo. They won their national championship. They're telling us to go get ours now, and same thing with baseball. Since they won theirs 2 years ago, they've been telling us it's time for us to get ours this year, and nothing but support. Got a lot of student athletes at our games, and everyone supports each other. And it's funny to say, almost the expectation is to win national championships, but it's nothing but support, and we'd hope to add to that culture.
Sometimes athletes get like tunnel vision, or it's almost like a Olympic training ground. But you guys feel like there's that unity?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone supports each other. All the student athletes want everyone to succeed. If we've gotten a ton of text messages and things from other student athletes on campus, and everyone wants everyone to win national championships, and it's not about one team carrying the load, and everyone wants everyone to contribute to the Hall of Fame.
Well, you mentioned that the women's team was knocked out in the weekend. Is there any extra motivation considering how they were knocked out, or rather by who they were knocked out?
There's been a little talk from them about getting a little vengeance, but no, on our end it's just all about taking care of the opponent that's in front of us, and we've done that since the start of the tournament. So happen to be playing Virginia tomorrow, and they want us to get it done for them, but obviously it's a goal we have in mind already, so we'd like to get the job done, and if it makes them that much happier, it's great.
Coach, I know you were well out of college by 1997, but do you have any memories of that national title game and kind of where you were, or did you watch it?
I wasn't well out of college for just a few years. Yeah, I mean, that game was a fantastic game for UCLA. Matt Reese, our goalkeeper, was man of the match. He made some saves that, to this day, you still don't know how he stopped the ball from going in the back of the net. Seth George, he was a goal scorer on the day. I was roommates with his older brother, Sam George, godfather of Sam George's kids. So I remember that 97 championship. The team had some adversity similar to us this year, that we've had 2 broken legs during the year for 2 starters. In that game, there was like 2 or 3 guys that were starters that were hurt and couldn't play in that game. And so, you can sometimes look back at history for some parallels, and I think it's really neither here nor there, but that '97 championship, against Virginia. I remember it well, and remember the plays well. But what I remember most about the UCLA team, it was just a great team that understood what needed to be done to win games.
Coach, we asked Sasha the last couple. What's your analysis of how that's progressed over the last few years?
Well, I alluded to Bruce Arena earlier, and I think Bruce has a great perspective of the game from top to bottom. Full national team coach, coaching a couple World Cups, coached obviously many years at Virginia, now many years in MLS. And when he comes to our games, he's made the comment that he thinks that the rosters now, in terms of quality, are much better than they were back when he was a coach at Virginia. I think the quality of playing college soccer is better now than it was, because before, you wouldn't have as many in your roster, as many quality players in your roster as you do now. And I firmly believe that college soccer continues to be an important pillar in the development of players and the development of professional soccer players and ultimately national team players, because our country is much different than any other soccer nation in the world. And for our kids to be able to mature and develop, I can speak to you about Earl Edwards and his experience that he's had for 5 years at UCLA, and how much he's grown and how much he's improved as a soccer player, and the mental side, emotional side of it. So college soccer, I think, is an integral part of a lot of players that go on to professional teams and professional environments, because it gives you a maturity and an experience that really you can draw upon for many years.
Earl, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of my development, it's been huge for me. I came in my first 2 years expecting to play. Didn't know much about Brian Rowe, sat behind him for 2 years, and he's gone on to the MLS and had an extremely good 2 years that I was here playing, and he was playing in front of me, and that was really difficult for me, and we've had a lot of tough conversations, and for me it was good in terms of development. On the MLS side, could be very well the number 2, number 3 guy, and I have to learn how to be that guy and push through that, continue to work hard and overcome adversity, and that's something I had to do at UCLA, and luckily that's what you get at UCLA. You get the best of the best, and you got to figure out how to fight and make your way to the top.
One more point. Along the lines of that development idea, where do you stand on the proposal among a lot of men's coaches to expand the season into fall and spring, and have a more follow the traditional soccer?
Oh, that's a really challenging topic, I think, and if it helps the game and helps us develop players and helps fan attendance, etc., then I'm all for it. But I think there's a lot of variables and factors that are challenging and take time to understand whether or not it's actually viable. I think ultimately, I think in its concept, it's a great proposal, and it's something that could enhance college soccer. But for example, the pitfalls of the weather in the Northeast. When can you get on to a field to train? When can you play matches without snow, without cold weather? And it's a big part of the 204 teams in men's soccer, that part of our country. And so, in terms of pure development, I think it'd be great. In terms of being able to play one game a week and recover and train, student safety and welfare aspects of it, I think there's some positives in it. But like I said, it's a topic with a lot of variables that need to be answered.